We are live.
Good morning. Happy Monday. Oh, there it is. Finally.
Where a lot of people don't even think about how their teeth relate to it. Like
How
what?
what?
Their teeth? Like what if they didn't, because they were poor, they didn't have money to go to the dentist and stuff,
Oh,
and you
yeah.
kind of, you know what I mean, infections there that gave you different stuff too.
Good morning, Linda. Hi, Ace. Hi, Tristan.
I'm telling Theresa 20 seconds.
Hi, Jolene. Safe travels. We're glad you're coming home. Hi, Marty. Here we go. Hi, Tara.
I'm just going to get my water out. Oh, you're fine. Okay.
Hi, Evie. Oh, hi, baby Alice.
Hi, Alice. I posted a special flyer.
I saw it.
It's time for Today in Yuma with Jennifer Blackwell and Theresa Straub. You can listen to Today in Yuma weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. on Z93.
Hi, Dad and
Outlaw
Tristan.
Country. Opinions expressed herein are not necessarily those of station management.
Did you
Feel
see
free to
Kenneth's-
give Jennifer and
his
Theresa
story?
a call at
Tristan was swinging, and he's like,
782-4321.
"Knuckles,
And now,
Knuckles."
Today in Yuma.
No, I didn't see it. I'll have to go watch it. It's funny at that age because she's a little bit older than Eli or Ollie, huh?
She'll be 2 on 9/11.
Okay, so she's a couple months older. Ollie, we were doing the same thing with him last night. Not in the swing, but he was walking to every single one of us. Here we go.
Welcome to Today in Yuma. I'm Jennifer Blackwell.
And I'm Theresa Straub.
Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Monday morning on Z93 in Outlaw Country after a little bit of an early morning drizzle.
Yes, I woke up and just missed it, I think. But that's okay.
It's okay. You didn't get any of the thunder, the lightning?
I did not wake up to it. Ollie, Lisa, I'm excited for you. Ollie slept all night, so I was out. I was not going to be woken up by anything.
Well,
I took full advantage of Ollie sleeping through the
with
night.
the AC on and the fan on in our room, sometimes I hear a noise that I think are thunder.
I honestly didn't
But
hear
it's
it.
the lightning that's been waking me up the last several storms we've had.
But this weekend was nice. I got to enjoy some of the rain yesterday morning. I was up early enough to get some of that. And Friday night, I mean, we had a weekend full of moisture.
We sure did. And we've got a fire. Hopefully it's getting close to being out. It's one of the
Yeah.
haystacks by the fairgrounds.
Yes,
Just east of the fairgrounds off of 32nd Street. Had a nice view of that this morning.
I saw.
My husband was driving, so those of you that see my Facebook Lives,
You could tell
I will pull over.
You could tell you're in the
I think
passenger
you could
seat.
see me in the
mirror.
the passenger mirror
Yeah,
too.
you could. And
But that window was down, and oh my gosh, the heat from that fire just driving by.
you know, I don't think people realize how hot those fires are and how long they burn. We have some friends that are farmers in the community, and when it's starting last week, if you don't follow John Dinsmore, Farmer John on TikTok or
He is-
Facebook,
We love John. He's hilarious.
he is hilarious because he's got all of his hay baled and he's like, it's pouring rain and all he wants to do is save what he can, so he lays over one hay
He
bale.
said, if you can't save them all, save one.
Save
That
one.
was his TikTok.
It was, and then the next
To the music of the Titanic.
I saw that. I definitely saw that. And once moisture hits those hail bales of hay, they start to kind of combust inside, and that's what happened. I think it was just too wet, and well, the heat made some fire.
Well, we had a lot of activity across the state. Our friends in Gila Bend got hit hard, and we have a lot of friends that are up in the Gila Bend area.
Yeah.
It's a community of 2,000. It's not a huge town, but they lost 2 people that passed
Yeah.
away, and hundreds are displaced. The water came in and it rose high very quickly. They had,
Yeah.
I think, 30 rooftop rescues.
They did storms, but never to that extent.
And to be waking up to that because it was Saturday morning early.
I can't
You know
imagine.
what though? The communities came out. Yuma contributed a lot of items. One of the biggest things that they're needing, and they will need, cleaning supplies.
Yeah.
Bleach, buckets, mops, scrubbers, so they can take care of once.
Shovels. There's so much sand.
Yes, a lot of people donated food items as well as baby food and diapers. Their gym, both the new gym and the old gym in the community were full. So
And we know, me as in my family, we hunt out, probably, 20 minutes away from there. So if we need supplies, we go into Gila Bend. There's like one small grocery store. There's a Family Dollar. There's not much for resources there. So being hit like this is devastating to them because they don't have the resources unless they can get on the road and drive. And
Right.
some of their vehicles were damaged.
right, and Red Cross, I know they have been out there working with the families too. The mayor, I followed him on Facebook for quite a while because when they had some of the migrant challenges they were experiencing months ago, the mayor comes out and he'll speak himself, and it's one of the good ways to stay on top of things that are happening there. He came in and was letting people know, thank you for the donations, they're amazing. He did declare a state of emergency, and they are, if it hits a certain dollar amount, then it will turn over to a federal level, and FEMA will step in. But again, thank you all for what you have done. I have several friends here that are doing drives to collect those cleaning supplies.
Yeah.
And plan to be dropping them off a little bit later this week.
That's awesome. It's a whole entire community, and when your community is that small, it's really hard.
It affects everyone.
It does.
All right, coming up on the show today from Museum Monday, Tina Clark will be joining us from the Territorial Prison.
Yes.
Just disregard the typo on my list.
I'm not even
Sometimes
looking
I
at
go
your
way
list.
too fast.
I'm not looking at your list.
And then we also have Walter McKinley joining us. If that name sounds familiar, Walter is from the Yuma area, but he currently resides up in Maricopa County. He is going to be here discussing his upcoming memoir and how men can learn to break the generational cycle of abuse and fight to be the heroes of their family. So he's going to give us details about that because, again, the book has not come out yet. And when it does, he's going to come here and visit again.
Awesome.
So
I'm excited.
they will be joining us today on National Tele Joke Day.
Oh my goodness. You have a list.
I'm going to sprinkle these in where appropriate throughout the show. What does a grape say when it gets squished?
I have no idea.
It lets out a little wine.
So in order, I loved your post yesterday because you said clean jokes for the radio. You might as well just post a bunch of dad jokes.
Well, I have quite a few of those.
Oh, do
And
you?
then the ones that had the off-color jokes, those went directly to my messenger.
And we read them, and we're enjoying them.
Just not out loud. Yeah, Sonny's shaking his head. Just for that, we're going to take you out of the birthday drawing here in a little
No,
bit.
we're not taking them out.
All right, it's also National Roller Coaster Day.
Fun.
It's also National Airborne Day
Okay.
and National Rum Day.
Okay. Well, we can get behind a couple of these.
Have some rum and tell a joke.
Okay.
Tell a clean joke. That's a challenge.
I was gonna say that's not gonna happen, especially after you've had some rum.
All righty. We also have, these are the Firehouse Subs birthday shout outs. We're
Yes.
going to draw one winner from all of last week's local birthdays. One person will receive a free medium sub, chips, drink, and dessert courtesy of Firehouse Subs. And remember, they have catering available.
They do.
You have something coming up, you can just celebrate Monday. If you want to do that, have lunch brought into your office. They can do on-site delivery and set up too. Firehouse Subs, when you buy more subs, you save more lives.
That's right. Yeah, Sonny, you're in the drawing today. Your birthday was last week. In case you missed your shout out, we were nice because it was your birthday, but it's no longer your birthday. Fair warning.
All right. Hang on, I'm going to shake up all the entries. They've been cut into equal size rectangles. Same 14-point Arial font, if you're curious.
Artie, I'm putting her on the list right now.
Bootylicious is picking one out right now.
Ooh.
Can I get a drum roll, Theresa? Not a rum roll.
Sounds like you've had some rum already.
Congratulations. Congratulations to Amy Obney.
Congratulations, Amy. You are the winner of a free medium sub, chips, drink, and a dessert courtesy of Firehouse Subs.
All right, celebrating today, we have Dina Moreno.
And just came in off the Sunset Health Facebook live feed. Artie wants to wish his beautiful wife, Sandra, a very happy birthday.
Trying to score points there.
He's really good with that, I gotta say.
Also celebrating today, Marla Ost.
We also want to wish a very happy birthday to Georgie Flores.
And Jenny Welch is on the list for today.
Got a couple more on my list. I want to wish the beautiful, one of our brand new educators in the community, Paloma Jaquis. I want to wish you a very happy birthday today. Also want to wish a very happy birthday to longtime friend Renee Stevens. Happy birthday. Another longtime friend, and I hear she's on some new adventures, Samantha Sam Butcher. We want to wish you a very happy birthday.
And congrats, Sam.
Yes, congrats. And also longtime friend Brian Nance is celebrating his birthday today. So happy birthday to all of you.
Get your birthday wishes in, and you too might be like Amy Opney and win our weekly giveaway. Go to monstermediayuma.com, click on that Today in Yuma tab, look for the Firehouse Celebrate banner, fill out that entry form and send in those birthdays, and make sure you send in your own birthday as well.
Yes, I love when I get those personal birthdays that come on in. Please send it in because we want to be able to put you into that drawing for that free medium sub, chips, drink, and a dessert courtesy of Firehouse Subs.
All right, and we want to thank the Yuma community. You are all so amazing.
It's absolutely awesome.
On Friday, Theresa and I did another Facebook Live when we finished the Today in Yuma show. We wanted to show the community what auction items we had for our benefit for Jennifer Lilly. I didn't plan on it taking 40 minutes. We knew we had a lot of stuff.
We knew we had a lot of stuff. We had over 70 items that we went through to kind of give a little bit of details on what exactly the items were. We posted the album, and while you proceeded to get more, now we have over 80 auction items.
I think we're at 87, I
Oh my
believe.
goodness.
Because we had additional businesses step up that wanted to contribute. Some had missed the initial call, and because it's the more the merrier,
Yes.
it's more money for Jennifer Lilly to go towards her cancer fight.
Exactly.
We got them all in there, and we have officially cut it off at this point.
Yes, because we're only taking bids until tomorrow.
Yes,
midnight.
and tomorrow 11:59 Arizona time. We created a group to do so, but you have to have everything approved by Facebook
Yeah.
to list those auction items. So I went ahead and posted them on my page. I keep kind of bumping it back to the top.
Yes.
For those who may have missed it, I think other people that have these bidding wars going on probably have it bookmarked and they're getting notifications.
Oh, I'm just waiting. I'm going to wait till tomorrow and then go in and do my bids because, yes, there is some bidding wars going on.
Well, what I'm going to do is I will set my alarm and get up at midnight.
So you can enable comments?
No, you can't do that on a personal page
Oh,
or
no.
a business page. You can do it in a group, but I'm going to change the privacy settings where only I can see it.
Yes.
Once I've gone through, when I'm more coherent the next morning,
Yes.
I will go through every single item. I already have a spreadsheet set up with the item number and the item. I will include the highest bid for each item,
Perfect.
the winner's name, and we'll reach out. But we will share that information so the community can help out. And we want to thank you all. Jennifer says, the other Jennifer says thank you.
She really does, and she is just so appreciative of everyone's generosity. And if you can see her page, she is sharing updates on what she's going through. It's a struggle.
It's a struggle,
It's a
and
struggle.
she understands that other people have been through it too.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. If it helps someone realize they are not alone in this journey,
Yeah.
then it's a good educational
And-
experience
and
because she's got a tough road, but she's also a tough woman.
Yeah, she really is, and again, this is something that she did not foresee coming,
No.
that she couldn't prepare for. It's kind of thrown at her, and she is going to start her chemo here. I think next week.
Next week, the 25th.
Yeah, next week. So, continued prayers for her, and again, we can't thank you enough for all of your generosity and
Yes.
prayers, and it's all appreciated.
There is still it's a Facebook fundraiser going on
Mm-hmm.
that we have set up, and the Yuma Landing Bar and Grill is doing a takeover event on Wednesday.
On Wednesday,
20% of all the proceeds throughout the day.
I think
open
we're going to go
close.
for lunch and dinner.
I think we're going to have a staff lunch there.
and then a impromptu staff dinner.
Exactly. And Evie says I'm so organized. It's organized chaos is what it is.
It is. But we were able to do it and pull it together.
And in
it's working out for us.
conference room, I hope nobody needs it for a conference. The next couple
I think
days.
we'll be okay.
Okay, we're good.
We'll be okay.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. And a quick birthday wish to Sam Pepper today.
Aw, happy birthday, Sam.
One of our fabulous caballeros.
Yes, definitely.
All right. We are going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of the show after this on Z93 and Outlaw Country. Quick Refrigeration offers free second opinions on AC and heating repairs. Not valid with any other offer. Contact Quick Refrigeration for complete details. Visit getcoolquick.com for more info.
And Sprague Sports, they are your hunting and shooting headquarters. You can stop by today on 32nd Street next to Lowe's or visit spragues.com.
Attention contractors, if you want a partner that really understands your needs and shares the same get it done right attitude, Yuma Nelson offers the benefits of local accountability along with the amazing advantages of being a large nationwide supplier. You can find them on Pacific Avenue weekdays.
One of the main causes of tire failure is underinflation, causing the tires to flex more in the sidewall, heat up, and blow out. Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros can quickly and affordably take care of all your tire needs.
It's Today in Yuma. We want to say a quick shout out. Yay, Team Nemo!
Yay, Nemo!
We'll give you more details about Nemo here really soon. We'll be back on Z93 and Outlaw Country with Tina Clark. Hi there. Nice to meet you. All right, Tina, you ready to go?
Ever since Donald Trump refused to accept that he lost the presidential election,
We'll grab you right after her, okay?
election results and voting rights.
Yeah, it's on, Mom.
Sneak peek.
Okay, no problem at all.
Now they've got their sights set on a power grab in California. Accusing the
Hello, my darlings.
Hello!
How are you?
So cute. Thank you.
California's progress.
You're fine. Oh, I was like, we're getting paper. Didn't have to.
That 1 degree made a difference, didn't it?
It made a big difference.
Yeah, because I was like, I walked over, like, I'm never cold,
She
and
had
my
her
nose
tank
was
top on,
cold.
and outside I go, you're gonna be cold.
It's
It was at 75, but it was cold in here.
But nobody was breathing over
I
here.
think
No
it has
lights
to
were
do with
on,
humidity is a little bit lower right
and
now.
the lights weren't on. Nothing.
no, it's in I think a lot of the soundproof. It's a lot of insulation, so it's cold. Yeah, it's cold. Not a fan of cold.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
And how's your little darling?
He's getting big. His Nina posted a memory from a year ago. I had took his 9-month pictures a year ago yesterday, and she shared a picture today with his 2 front teeth. Now he's got a full mouth full of teeth and running around everywhere. And it's
My favorite is still him in that mud puddle a few weeks ago.
oh yes, he's a mud kid. He's loving.
He just laid in it and looked up like, this is the life.
So since then, his Nino got him a plastic pool, which we had a little blow up one, but in the back where we were playing, we didn't expect him to get in there. We were just watering the trees. And he gets on in there, and his Nino shows up and says, I had a plastic pool at home. I'm going to go bring it. So he brought it to him. And now every single day, every day, for at least 30 minutes or so, he's out there in the pool playing naked because I ain't even bothered to put on any clothes on him. He's just out there playing in his pool, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, he's having a blast, having an absolute blast.
Isn't that love? That's wonderful.
So, but yes, he's a mud kid. Any chance he gets to play with mud, he will be in the mud. Him and his brother. He's a naked swimmer. He is. We were at my Nana's house this week, and we had dinner over there on Saturday night. And my mom has a little tiny blue pool too. She brought it for me. I was out there naked, having a good old time. And then he wanted out. So got him out, put his shorts back on, a diaper and his shorts back on. What do you do?
Took it off?
No.
Well, I bet
Jumped
you.
right back in the pool. Yes, he absolutely loved it. I'm like, well, now you're going to have saggy diaper because that is what it is.
You'll have to get a few of those little swimmers and just keep them.
We have them, but he said he was done.
Because
As soon
those
as I
were
opened
nice.
the back door,
I'm
boom,
done.
he
Yep.
went right back in.
They don't bulk up, like those were good.
Yeah.
Well, now you know you have to do swim lessons and make sure that
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
because he's gonna always want to be in it.
He's going to always want to be in the pool. All right, here we go.
Welcome back to Today in Yuma. I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Theresa.
When I was young, I wanted to play the guitar really badly. After years of hard work, practice, and determination, I can play the guitar really badly.
I saw that one.
And apparently, you can't use beef stew as a password. It's not stroganoff. But good morning, Tina.
Good morning.
It's National Telejoke Day.
Oh my gosh, that was really a throwback. Yeah, that was good.
I didn't write any of them. But Tina Clark joins us for Museum Monday from the Yuma Territorial Museum. But Tina, what did the frog say when he got ran over?
I have no idea.
Okay, I'm not that creative.
He didn't say anything. He just croaked.
Oh,
All right. I didn't
You
say
gotta
there were
laugh
good
from the other
jokes.
room,
Last
too.
night I put out the call on Facebook. Share your clean jokes with me that are radio friendly, and I got a lot of these. Some of them were being shared by people's kids, which I love.
I have a couple. I have one specifically recorded. We'll play later.
All right. Well, Tina, we have you here today because we're going to be talking. We love this. We have some different selfie stations that are going to be going in at the Territorial Prison.
that is right. They are not ready for prime time yet, but they're cardboard cutouts that are beautiful. So you can have your picture taken with two of the very most famous prisoners.
Jennifer, we're going to
And
take
it's a
advantage
surprise,
of this.
so
Well, once it's available, we will. Teresa and I still have not been down to the Y in Yuma sign. How about Wednesday,
Okay.
lunch at the landing to benefit Jennifer, and we'll go take our picture right down the road.
At the Y,
At
and
the
then
Y.
maybe when are these selfies going to be available?
I don't have the exact date, but I will make sure you know.
Okay, perfect.
So you could announce it.
Yes, well, we'll
Perfect.
let
Yes.
people know. And
Yes.
we also have you here because voting will be starting soon for the prison to be the best haunted destination again.
Yes. And truly, it is the best and most haunted destination. And most people come, they're tourists, it's daylight. But once we really get a nomination as the most haunted place, you know that you have to be there in the dark.
Well, this is certainly one of the things that helps put Yuma on the map. We've known for years the Territorial Prison has gotten a lot of exposure for a variety of different things.
Yes.
But this accolade at the international level, because people come from all over the place and want to check it out.
Yes, they do. And you want to know the thing that is a mystique for me. In many ways, we have lost our connection to the Old West. Because when I grew up, every other TV show was Gunsmoke or one of these. And it really romanticized. And in sometimes I'm giving tours at the prison. We've got a lot of foreign people who, by the way, are still watching Western reruns. And they see the romance of the Old West. It was rough. It was gunslingers, but it was romanticized on TV, especially people that are baby boomers. We grew up with all of the romance. And the boys all for Christmas wanted a new cowboy hat. That is passé with this generation. So I would say probably the number one tourists that come from all over the world are in a certain age group, and they're called baby boomers because there's a romance connected.
And it's that association with their childhood, too.
Yes,
that
it
you
is.
like to be taken back and experience something that's connected to that.
Well, I do have to say, I was speaking with someone this weekend, and they actually had some family in town, and they were younger. They weren't baby boomers. They'd never been they'd heard of the prison, but never been there. So they split up. The one family went down to play down at the river. The other two went up to go actually tour the Territorial Prison.
Yes.
They'd heard of it.
And you remember, I think I've said this at least once on the show, on your show, that the little girls who said, Who was the most famous prisoner?
Yes.
Pearl Hart.
Yes.
What'd she do? She robbed a stagecoach. These girls are 15 or 16, and they looked at me and said, "What's a stagecoach?" So that means that some of that romance has missed this, younger generation. And that's a shame. So, I mean, I don't know the answer.
Well, for some of these kids, to them, a vintage vehicle is a car that doesn't have a clicker. You don't have keyless entry, or you have to.
You have to roll your windows down.
Oh yes! Oh, that's so vintage.
But there is certain, they may not know what a stagecoach is, but there is other things like being named, the most haunted place, in the United States.
Yeah.
That's actually what drew the younger crowd, the two younger
Yes.
ones that went, is they had heard about it being haunted. They had heard about all that, so they wanted to go. And they did a little bit of a tour downtown and did that, but they may not know what a stagecoach is, but they can learn as soon as they get there.
Yes, they
What
can.
drew them in was the scary, the haunting part of it. So they went through and they learned so much just going through. And
You are so right.
it might be a different draw, but they're going to learn.
It is.
Yes.
We've seen several bloggers, several well-known, well-recognized bloggers that have made their way through Yuma, and they hit, what we kind of deem are the touristy spots. But again, there's other stuff that they're getting out and experiencing beyond just
Yes.
the traditional landmarks that people often think of when they think of Yuma. Again, it's not just a gas station stop between San Diego and Phoenix. There's a lot more
There is.
offered here, and I like that people are, and younger people too, are coming in to experience some of it, and then spread the word to other audiences that might not ever have the opportunity to learn about the Territorial Prison.
Well, here, the other thing is drawing people to Yuma. Where are they? They're drawn to Main Street.
Oh, yeah.
So what was Main Street? It was the only trail west during the gold rush. Hundreds and hundreds of people used that. It was known as the Gila Trail. It became known as Main Street later. But how wide was it? It was wide enough to let a 20-mule team wagon make a U-turn on Main Street. So when you look from the edge of the building and across the street, it is a really wide street. So the city over the years has put grass, landscaping, and overhangs. But in fact, if you take all of that away and look at the historic place, it was a very wide trail, two-way traffic. It would also allow the 20-mule team wagons to make a U-turn if they just say the mules were acting up or whatever. So it was the superhighway west. And there was a ferryman who charged to get across the river.
And they charged a pretty penny for that transport.
Yes, they did, especially wagons, covered wagons. Think of a covered wagon with 4 horses getting on a little ferry, going down a ramp, paying the price to the ferryman, and needing, it was a lot of weight. So they had a rope. They didn't necessarily pull, but that was a heavy load. However, the other thing not to forget is the Colorado River was 100 times what the size that it is today.
I encourage anyone who has family or friends come through Yuma that want to see these things, take them, but also kind of give them the little bit of tidbits of history that we're talking about now, because that is going to light a fire in them and say, I want to learn more about that. If they're anything like, Jennifer and I, we get a little piece of history and we're going to go back and see, okay, well, I want to know the rest of this. Explain to them how important Main Street was, back in the day, back in the old times, how important the Colorado River was. These are things that are going to keep Yuma on, quote unquote, the map. We got to keep that history going.
Yes. And just a reminder to our listeners that this is what put Yuma on the map. Yuma, the town of Yuma became a household word during the gold rush because it was the place that, well, most people could not swim, one. Two, they had their goods, their horses. How were they going to get across the Colorado River, which was 100 times what you see today?
I just saw yesterday, it was a memory I think I'd shared a year ago, and it was one of the old black and white photos that was one of the riverboats. And you don't think of something that enormous. But again, the river was 100 times the size of what we have today.
Yes.
So that was obviously adequate, and it could support a vessel of that size.
Yes.
But it's just amazing.
But where is the Colorado River today? It is the drinking water of probably 10 major cities in the West. So that's what happened to that romantic image of this incredible, it was called the mighty Colorado River.
It was. Well, is this Jennifer, your cousin Theresa?
Yes, it is.
She said, last time I was home, I took Nana and my family to the prison. Even though Nana and I had seen it many times, it was still a new adventure. Lots of things have changed in the museum. I learned a lot of new information, which is why you do mix up the exhibits.
Yes. Yes. Keep it fresh. Keep the place alive. It is the way I look at it is it's living history. And it was what really established the river, but the prison housed over 3,000 prisoners. Wow. So they went to Yuma Territorial Prison, and it put Yuma on the map. What it did.
And Evie said she had friends that were visiting, and she said they did the tourist stuff in town. Then she schooled them on the criminal mascot as well and how it all got.
She's a criminal, so of course she's
Yes.
going to. That's something you don't forget. You don't forget.
I'll close with this. There was a new teacher that came to Yuma High, and he got wind he was being introduced to the criminal, the mascot.
Yeah.
He was so offended by this that he wrote a letter to the editor
Oh goodness.
that said, what is going on, using a criminal as an example for students? What are you thinking? Well, the responses were something like 1,800 letters
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
that said, don't you ever. I'm surprised he didn't get run out of town.
Well, and we get that. We when we share things about the mascot, they do voting for the different mascots and things like that, and they're like, really, the criminals? And then once they hear the history, they're like, that is awesome.
Yeah. And so what I heard coming out of that whole experience was, we're proud to be criminals.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
And that even, drove it home even more for this guy.
I'm a crim mom, so class of 2016.
How sweet.
Well, thank you so much, Tina. Again, the Yuma Territorial Prison is open. What are the weekdays open?
Okay, Tuesdays and Wednesdays the prison is closed.
Okay.
And that, as the season opens again, we will definitely announce when it's open 7 days a week.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so
My
much for coming in.
pleasure. I wouldn't have missed it.
We are going to take our Lotus Day Spa and Salon Selfie out in the courtyard with Tina. We'll be back with more of the show. Walter McKinley coming up after the break. Today in Yuma is brought to you by Sprague's, where they can help keep you cool. And today, our heat index values, it's going to be about 105, but it's going to feel more like 110. So Sprague's might be the place to be at their indoor shooting range. They're located on 32nd Street next to Lowe's, and the newly remodeled range is coming soon.
And Advocate Pest and Wildlife Specialist is locally owned and operated, offering general pest control, termite treatment and inspection, pigeon extraction, and safe, humane wildlife relocation. For details, visit advocatepest.com.
And oil changes are key to your car's longevity. Oil removes heat from the engine, lubricates its moving parts, plus collects dirt and engine deposits. No appointment is needed for an oil change at Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros.
Telecris Plasma Resources reminds you that donors help save lives. Be a part of the solution, and you could earn over $1,000 with 10 donations. Visit griffelsplasma.com for more details.
But I changed all my passwords to Kenny. Now I have all Kenny logins. We'll be back after this on Z93 and Outlaw Country.
Just throw it on in
You
there.
guys are rolling today.
Oh Lord, did you see the one that was on the feed? And it said, why did the skeleton
Yes.
not cross the street? Because he didn't have any guts.
Because he didn't have any
Share
guts.
your light by donating plasma. You'll also be helping yourself.
That's why I was like,
By donating plasma, you can receive $1,000 in your first 10 donations. When you donate, you're directly helping the creation of life-saving medicines that help people in your local community and around
on
the
in.
world. To find a location
Good, how are you today?
Go to grifflesplasma.com.
Okay. Woke up on the right side of the ground today, so we're good. Go ahead and scoot on over
What's
there.
going on? How y'all doing?
Doing well.
Good. This is, where do you want me to sit at?
Right there's
Right
perfect.
there's fine.
Right here?
Yep.
Good. 'Cause if I get close to the wall, then I'll be bleeding and can't be doing the
Some people, we used to have like a show here once a week, and you could tell one person always leaned up against the wall.
Because it would always.
It's
it
got like a little
shreds.
depression over there.
Oh my goodness.
That-
It
they
is
walk-
a shedding.
They walk away with little.
I feel like you lose that
Fuzzy
energy.
inside.
You know what I'm saying? If you're
Yeah.
leaning. So nice to meet you guys.
Also, I'm Jennifer.
And I'm
This is
Theresa.
Yep, nice to meet you guys officially. Thank you so much for having me on.
It's our pleasure.
Pull your mic
How long
up.
is this segment?
Well, it is 35 after now. We'll finish up this break, and as long as you want to talk.
We have
go-
until 9.
we go
have
till
till
10.
10.
Okay. I can flex and just go by your guys' questions. Like I'm comfortable being off the cuff a little bit. So if you need me to be quiet, just give me the shut up.
We'll let you know.
Or message them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or even book on Amazon.
It's that time of year again when parents get excited.
I don't know if that's a
and
good
students
or
are
bad
looking
time.
forward to going back to school. Z93 in Outlaw Country would like to pass along some safety tips to help make
Sure.
sure that this school year is safe for
In
everyone.
studio?
No, it's over.
I figured. We get to do some fun interviews sometimes, but usually they're over the phone.
Walk on the edge of the street facing
So I heard your guys'
whenever
dad joke that you guys told.
Oh, we have more.
I have one. If
Oh,
you guys
do
want
you?
me to tell
Oh,
one,
yes.
Absolutely.
Well, as soon as we come back.
And because I'm a dad, I definitely got a laugh out of that. He croaked. I was like, can I
Funny.
laugh
They
out
get a
loud
bad
without messing
rap.
y'all up?
They get a bad rap, but they're funny. But the thing, I mean, if it's clean, it's 90% chance it's a dad joke.
Yes,
Like it's just.
yes. That is absolutely true.
You know,
Actually.
it was funny because when she posted it yesterday, I had friends over. And my husband starts looking. I know he just googled dad jokes, so you hear him giggle, and he's like, "Okay, ready." I'm like, there was a couple I saved.
He's like, I got a list of 100.
My friend Courtney messaged me and sent this. She goes, "My son loves this joke. What do you call a skinny booger?" Slim Pickens.
You see, they're just funny.
That was a
Quick
good
to the
one.
point funny.
And see, those are the ones you can go home and tell Eli when you get home. Like, hey, what do you call this?
I'm glad she said on the Facebook Live feed though, and not on the radio. Kevin might have.
What do you call a bear with no teeth? A gummy bear.
That's funny, Meg.
All right, here we go.
Welcome back to Today in Yuma. I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Theresa.
Joining us this morning is Walter McKinley, a former Yuma resident, but he's got strong roots here in the community. Walter, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me on today, Jennifer and Theresa. I'm so excited to just be back in my hometown,
Yeah.
even though, thank goodness, I only live in Phoenix and it's 3 hours away, not all around the world like it was in the Navy. And I appreciate you guys having me on today in Yuma. Thank you.
Well, first off, you have a dad joke to share for National Tele Joke Day.
I do. So I was sitting, waiting for my turn to come into the studio with you guys, and you guys told the previous dad joke, and I couldn't help but laugh out loud. So I wrote down one, so I
Okay.
wouldn't forget it in here.
We're ready.
So what does a dog say when it sits on sandpaper?
That's rough.
Rough.
That's
And of
a
course
good
I get
one.
extra chuckles because I am a dad, so it's extra funny for me.
Well, you already have a fan on the Sunset Health Facebook Live feed. My cousin Jennifer Bailey, well, she's Camarena now. She says, "Hey, Walter."
Tell her I said hi. That's an old classmate.
Yeah, she's so you're a criminal
Hey,
too,
what's going
huh?
on?
You're a
Yes.
criminal too.
Yes.
Criminals. Bleed blue.
Yes.
All right.
Sorry,
now,
Kofa.
Teresa's Kofa.
I was for 1 year.
All right. Well, Walter, you grew up and graduated from Yuma High School. You served in the Navy. You retired after 20 years. Thank you for your service.
Yes,
Thank you for that. I appreciate
That's
that.
amazing. And after Navy life, you went into the corporate world where you were successful. And now you've decided to write a book.
That's right. So I have a very tragedy to triumph kind of story and a calling on my life to help everybody, but specifically men, understand that no matter where you came from, no matter what you went through, the childhood trauma, sharing the things that happened to you will help alleviate that pain that truly sits just below the inside of who you are as a human being, so that you don't continue the generational cycle of abuse. So I'll give you guys just a little bit of context. And so for the first 16 years of my life, I moved 14 times. Wow. Very transient childhood. My parents kidnapping us from one person to the other, moving to different cities, towns. During that time frame, I underwent, frankly, torturous abuse. I was locked in basements as an 8-year-old child in the dark, beat, kicked, punched, belittled, the whole nine, to the point where I got to 13 years old and I almost took my life. Because I didn't have anything that I didn't have love, one, and then I didn't have an outlet to share the things that were happening, so it was just eating me alive inside, even as a young boy. Fast forward to 15 and a half, my aunt, and you guys will love this in here, I always say a woman made me the man I am today. And I really mean that. My aunt took me into her home. She was only 24, newly married with a young son. Wow. Took me out of that abusive situation. I testified against my father in court at 16 years old, which is still, to me, like if we go too deep in that story, I'll start getting choked up, because it was I needed to face my abuser. I needed to stop having the abuse that was happening to me, because I was going in the wrong direction. But nobody ever wants to throw their parent in jail, right? Nobody ever wants to face that moment where you're face to face on a witness stand against your parent. What I found in that moment, it allowed me to speak my truth, and for the first time in my life, I let the story of what was happening to me out. And I found in that moment, even on a witness stand, in one of the worst moments of my life, that there was a freedom that released from me. So fast forward, my aunt taught me how to love, taught me how to just take it all in. And I met my wife at an early age in the Navy. And I was able to accept her love in a healthy way.
Because you'd never really, beyond your aunt, you hadn't really experienced that.
That's right. And the problem is with people that are abused and go through traumatic childhoods, we only know how to accept love the way that it was given to us. And that's why people chase love. That's why they feel like they need to earn it from somebody else, because it wasn't just given to us, and we don't think that we deserve it. Yeah. And then, it's not really about the abuse for me. It's about the comeback. Yeah. And so I went in the Navy, started enlisted, retired as an intelligence officer after 2 decades. I've been married 22 years, I'm happy to say. Been with my wife almost a quarter of a century, and which is crazy because I'm only 44. But have 2 amazing, challenging, just brilliant teenage daughters who I love to death. And, then went into corporate America, reached the executive level, promoted 3 times in 4 years, crushing it. And I was left with a moment about 10 weeks ago where I felt more empty professionally than I've ever felt, because I wasn't following God's calling on my life. I wasn't utilizing the pain that I went through and the gifts that trauma unlocked in me to reach people in a way to show them they're not alone, to show them that by speaking their truth, they can let go of this pain and heal families, so that we don't continue to have the generational cycle of abuse that's permeated our society since the start of it. And I just couldn't sit by any longer. So here I'm at the pinnacle of my earning success. I should feel great, right? I should feel great. And I'm like, is this what it is? Chasing a KPI and a metric for a Fortune 500 company. That's not what it's about. And I left 75% of my income to do what I'm doing now. And I'm sure we'll probably talk a little bit about what's next for me and some other things. To do what I'm doing now and not get paid a dime for it, at least not yet. Because the mission is about helping, especially men, learn to speak their truth too.
So often we hear about women and the struggles, but you don't, on a very frequent basis, hear about the abuse that men endure. And it's out there.
Because a lot of times men are made to feel like they have to be the strong one. They have to...
You can't cry. You can't
you can't cry.
Admitting any issues would be questioning your masculinity. So, we've talked before. Amberly's Place does amazing things in our community, and people just think women and children. No, there are men that go through Amberly's Place, as well as Safe House, that have been victims of domestic violence, sexual abuse, and a variety of other things. So, coming out and speaking your truth again, to reach people and share that, possibly to have an impact. Yeah, that's the hope, that you have an impact and get others to kind of have this altruistic moment that you had and continue to have.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I will give you guys a great example of this. So I started sharing my stories, and I do videos on social media, and really I just put it out there. You know, and I had a guy who I served with about a decade ago, fighter pilot, was a Blue Angel pilot, great looking family with kids, like you would think they had everything. And he reached out to me, never commented, liked. He reached out to me privately and said, "Thank you so much for sharing." He goes, and I got to be careful I don't get choked up, because the impact is what you get choked up about, right? And he goes, "Thank you so much for sharing." He goes, "I went through the type of abuse you did, that kind of really extreme version of that." And he goes, "And I left my home at 17 to go into the Navy because I just needed to escape, and I've never really shared it." And he goes, in some morbid way, is how he described it, some morbid way, "It feels good to know I'm not alone." Wow, what a powerful statement. And because as men, we're taught, bite your upper lip. Oh, you know, get up and brush that off. You're acting like a girl. Don't cry.
Just deal with it.
So
It's okay.
we're not put in a position to share our emotions. And I didn't for a long time. And even though I had the love of my aunt, who taught me, I couldn't even give you a hug back then, and who taught me how to accept love. And you know, Jennifer, sorry, but you commented on my thing, and I loved it, because you're like, the Walter I knew, I didn't even know that you went through that. So everybody's walking around, and if we haven't been in pain, we definitely know somebody who has in our lives. And everybody's walking around with this pain, and we're so judgmental of what people do and how they act. But the realistic version of it is, people lash out because they're hurting. It ain't even about you that they're lashing out to.
Right.
And so I have to, as a 20-year veteran, I love fishing, I love off-roading. Like, I love those things society tells us are what a manly man likes. But still, I'm sharing. And the lady listeners, like, what you can do to help empower men is give men a safe space to share. And men, give your friends an opportunity to talk about something more than their car, their work. Because what do men talk about? People, places, or things.
With one another.
That's right, right? And it's this bravado. It's this, oh yeah, oh, how's work going? Oh yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Oh yeah, let me tell you about how I got promoted. And it's this idiotic competition and this bravado that men have that doesn't create a space for men to say, like, how am I feeling? Because men don't know how to talk about those feelings. So I'm hoping that by me sharing and serving others in this capacity, we can really transition to a place where men can share, and those manly, those alpha males, kind of like how I am, go from wanting to be physical and angry to letting that go and finding this abundant joy where they can truly be the heroes for their family and the people around them that not only God wants for them, but they deserve, and the people around you deserve.
Amber commented on our Sunset Health Facebook Live feed. She says, hurt people hurt people. And Evie says, oh my God bless you for what you've endured and for coming out of that with the heart you have to now do what you were called to do. And Faith says, I'm watching you, brother.
It's my sis. And by the way, my sister experienced a lot of that with me. And she's been on her healing journey at the same time. And so I'm so proud of her too, because she shared some of that online too. And she's learning to speak her truth in a way that helps other people, because life's messy, guys.
Yeah.
We all got a mess, whether it's struggling in a marriage, struggling with relationships with friends, overcoming childhood trauma, no matter what it is. But our messes create messages that transform other people's lives. And your mess might end up being the manuscript for somebody else's life. But if you don't share it, nobody's ever going to know that.
Most definitely.
Nicole says this was so important and needed. Brent says, love you, bro. You're killing it. All right, Walter, we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to be talking about your story in the book called Monsters in My House.
Awesome. Thank you.
We'll be back with Today in Yuma after this on Z93 and Outlaw Country with Walter McKinley.
All right. I love this. I get so fired up.
That's good.
Sorry.
No,
If you weren't a motivational speaker in the corporate world, you
Yeah.
should have been. I was ready to sign up to, I don't know, flip houses or something.
Well,
I used to watch this one couple that they were really motivational like that.
Well, you know what I talk about with people too, and I didn't know this. This is like a self-discovery thing for me too. There's 4 things that I really learned, and so I haven't trademarked it yet, but I'm going to trademark it, called the trauma ladder. And I correlate it to, remember them Chilean miners that got trapped years ago for 2 months? The darkness, the despair they felt, and the lack of hope. That's how we feel when we've been through trauma, and it's suffocating. And when they broke through and that first light hit, that hope that they gave. And a lot of times that light is like love from somebody. but it lets you stand underneath it and say, oh my God, like I might be able to make it. And I haven't done large things yet. This is just me speaking from my heart. And when they finally broke down, they still couldn't carry the Chilean miners out. They had to put something in there. The Chilean miners still had to do the work to actually get out. Right? So the light's there, it's within grasp, and they got to do that work. And so I love, and I just literally, my wife and I were sitting, and we did some training with Tony Robbins over the weekend, and we're sitting, and my wife's like, what about the trauma ladder? Because you talk about 4 steps. Speak your truth. Like, acknowledge the feelings. You have to face those feelings head on, right? You have to, and that's tough. And then finding forgiveness. And we can talk about this stuff if you guys want. Forgiveness isn't for your abuser. Forgiveness is for you. I had this love, and I had this healthy perspective of like what life could be. I was so happy, but I still had this anger. And I wasn't going to forgive them because I didn't want to give them that. I never even said I forgave them, but I needed to because I was angry, and I needed to let that go. And then just changing your mindset to looking forward and unlocking this grit, resilience, determination, compassion, these gifts that trauma gave you that is so much higher than somebody who didn't go through those things. It's amazing when you unlock that and find this joy, but you got to move from thinking like a victim and being sad about what happened to you to looking forward about where your life can be and what legacy you're going to leave. And if you do that, you can find this abundant joy where now you're a beacon of light for other people from the darkest places of where you started. So it just,
No, that's awesome.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, and I don't think people realize the power in forgiveness, like you said. You don't have to forgive them, but you need to forgive what's in your heart and watch what comes from it.
And then you can take intentional action, right? Like, then you start to understand your triggers, this path and journey. The last step is changing that mindset to be, I call it a warrior mindset, because I'm really trying to reach men, although women need it too. And I mean, crap, most of the time women are more warriors than men are about this kind of stuff, right? And there's so much strength in your vulnerability. And it's actually a weakness that men have that we don't allow ourselves to be vulnerable. But you want to be you want to be that alpha male, you want to be that strong male, be vulnerable.
Yeah.
We'll and we'll see how strong that is.
All right, here we go.
Coming back.
782-4321.
Welcome back to Today in Yuma. I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Theresa.
Joining us again for the rest of this segment is Walter McKinley, a Yuma resident who now lives up in Maricopa County. He's here today because he's sharing some of his story. But Walter, we want to talk about your book that's going to be released soon. It's called Monsters in My House.
Yes, so the Monsters in My House name came from a story from my childhood where I was locked in basements as punishment at 8 years old in the dark. And I was terrified of this werewolf mask that my stepfather had. And at this point, the abuse was by my stepfather, but it was by everybody that I was in my life till I was 16. And he would throw me in the basement as punishment, hit me, smack me, and throw me down there. And I'd be sitting in the dark as a child and screaming and crying and rocking back and forth. And he would take this mask, I was terrified of this werewolf mask, and throw it down there with me. And so in my 8-year-old imagination, that thing came to life. And it's down there, and it's barking at me, and I can hear its nails tapping, and he's telling me he's coming to get me. So I got this man standing at the top of the stairs, and I got this werewolf in my imagination standing at the bottom. And it's about me being in the middle on the stairs at that moment, terrified, afraid of the dark already, much less everything else happening, and having to pick between these two monsters. I'm living with my father and the abuse that he did to me, foster parents, the abuse that they did to me, and I had a monster in every single house that I went in. And one of the listeners said, hurt people, and that's absolutely correct, which is why I'm sharing, so we can heal people. And so Monsters in My House will be, right now, tentatively, if I can get I sent it to an editor and hired an editor on Friday, so I'm so excited. It's 75,000 words right now, probably about 300 pages, and it really is a story that takes you through how I felt at that age. So it's not a biography, it's a memoir. And a memoir is written from me at that age as I went through my life. And you get to see this very inspirational story of somebody who came from the deepest, darkest recesses of where somebody could be from to live in this very triumphant life. And I'm just a normal dude from Yuma, Arizona. Well, from everywhere, but I call Yuma my home, right? From Yuma, Arizona. And if I could do that, anybody can do that. There's nothing special that made me get to that point. It was just a decision to move myself from being a victim to being a warrior of my abuse and thriving in spite of it, instead of being a victim or a survivor and feeling a certain kind of way and asking, why did things happen to me? I started asking, how can I take what happened to me and live an empowered, joyful life? So it really is a mind shift change that will propel you forward in ways that you can never imagine.
And Walter, once this is close to actually publication, we're going to have you back again too,
Yes.
so we
I
can
love it.
remind people that it will be available. But you talked about when we were on radio break, but still live on the Sunset Health feed. You talked about the 4 steps.
Yeah. So through my own journey of healing, I figured out 4 steps that really got me to a point of having this warrior mindset. And everything that I do, and I'm really focused on men, although women are very much warriors of their trauma. I'm creating a foundation called Legacy Warriors that I'm hoping to have off and running by the end of this year. And the tagline I created for that is teaching men how to break the generational cycle of abuse and fight to be the heroes of their family. As men, we're protectors, but we're not even protecting that inner child that we have. So how do we really protect our families in a way that's healthy, that's positive? And so what I found through my journey is there's 4 steps. The first one is doing what I'm doing now, speaking my truth. And by the way, that doesn't mean you have to do it in a grandiose way like I'm doing. And if we have time, I'll tell you guys a story of what changed in my life, a truly pivotal moment that taught me why I needed to do what I'm doing now. And it was about 15 years ago, 18 years ago. And so speaking your truth. And then it's like acknowledging those feelings. And I love the warrior analogy for this, because warriors fight for the things that they believe in. They fight for what's true and what's just. And acknowledging those feelings and sitting in those feelings and really facing them head on and fighting, because you deserve to be the best version of yourself so you can protect those people around you and not perpetuate generational abuse, is so important to it. And then it's finding forgiveness. It's the 3rd step. And wow, that was hard for me. Because I wasn't forgiving nobody. I thought to myself, why would I forgive them for what they did to me? That's how I felt for years. And what happened is even though I had this amazing different perspective because I had someone who loved me and now I'm in a great marriage and I feel fantastic, there was this pain just sat in my chest. And I wanted to be physical and fight people, anybody that challenged me, because now I could protect myself. So as a man, like we're physical, right? Now I could protect myself, and you thought you were going to punk me out. Let me show you why you're not. Because I got punked out for the first 16 years of my life. And what I realized was forgiveness was about me letting go. So my abusers didn't know that I forgave them. But I forgave them because I understood finally that hurt people hurt others. And that's why 78% of all abuse is done by a family member, and that's why it's a generational cycle, because we don't ever heal. We don't ever talk about it. It's swept underneath the rug. And what a terrible place to be, the secrets and the shame that come with that. So finding true forgiveness. And then the last thing is living that warrior mindset. I will tell you, ladies, there's so many gifts that your trauma give you that people don't unlock. But those people who speak their truth, those people who face those emotions, they don't live in the fear of what that looks like. They're a warrior. They face it head on. And they get past that, and then they start to find this joy, and then they got forgiveness. Then there's more joy. And then, they change their mentality. The people that are the most empathetic, compassionate, grit-filled, and resilient that I've ever met, including myself, are the people that have been able to get to this point. They don't look back at themselves as a victim. They look at themselves as a warrior, and they look ahead. And they unlock these amazing gifts that can impact people around them. But there's so many that stay as a victim, and they never unlock it. And then they perpetuate the abuse, even if it's not, quote unquote, not as bad as what I went through. How many times you guys heard that? So for me, those are the 4 steps, and that's what I teach people, and that's what I coach people on. I'm creating some courses for this to move them past being a victim to being a warrior so that they can really have the generational change.
Now, Walter, you do have some videos and stuff available. Where can people find you online?
Yeah, so if you just type in Walt McKinley on any social media platform, I try to keep it easy, you'll see me there. So on Facebook, it's Walt McKinley. And then on Instagram, it's Walt McKinley Motivation. And then, believe it or not, My daughters are teaching me how to use it, but I started utilizing TikTok.
Yay, that's a good resource.
It really is, right? So Walt McKinley on TikTok too.
All right, we'll make sure we follow you there too. Well, great
Thank you.
information.
And we look forward to having you back.
We look
Thank
forward
you,
to
ladies.
seeing you again and following your journey and see where that takes you, because a lot of great things remain in store for you.
I love it. I'm blessed. Thank you very much for having me on, and I'll leave your readers with this. Be blessed so you can be a blessing to somebody else.
Oh, that's great.
Start sharing your story. Start speaking your truth.
Definitely.
Love it.
We are going to take our Lotus Day Spa and Salon selfie before Walt heads out this morning. Thank you for driving down for this, too. We appreciate you. Coming up next on Z93, it is the Bob and Sherry Show. And an Outlaw Country, your favorite classic country music, Diamondbacks. How about first-time pitcher,
I saw.
no-hitter on his first major league debut?
That's awesome for a
Way
Diamondback.
to go, Diamondbacks.
Yes, definitely.
All right, coming up tomorrow is Toro Tuesday. We have a packed week for you. A lot of great guests coming in, just like Walt and Tina joined us today. Stay tuned. Weekdays 9 to 10, again, both Z93 and Outlaw Country. I don't know that we have a chance of showers out there. I know it's going to be warm today. Again, we've got that heat index coming in around 110. So remember, please hydrate properly. Be safe out there. Still a lot of traffic on the roadways.
Yes.
KCYK Yuma and KLJZ Yuma.
Goodbye, ladies.
Bye, everyone.